The Calgary Flames are my second favorite team.
What the? I don't know what that was, but that was 2 years ago. I mean, take a look at this, guys. This is me. Oh, it's hard to see. Doesn't matter, but I had freckles on my face. Whatever. Welcome, everyone, to the Puck Drops here. This is Peter Fivefoot, and this is going to be a revisiting version of my first ever video here on the Puck Drops here. Favorite NHL teams ranked 1 to 31. I don't know what I was doing that day, but I made a few videos, that first one, and I had a 1 to 31, and number 2 is Calgary. 2 years later, I can't stand the Flames. So we're going to revisit this and try to figure out what my number 1 to 32 teams actually are, and I'll give you some reasons, and also there will be goal horns along the way before we start. Remember, it's been a long time coming. I've gotten around 450 loyal subscribers, and they've devoted themselves to this channel, family-friendly hockey channel. So remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and share this video. Share this channel. I can grow and grow, and the more I grow, the more I will be able to do great things as I get more subscribers on our journey here on the Puck Drops here, like live stream games when I'm at them with my phone. But, moving on, let's go to start this video exponentially now at number 32. The New York Rangers still are at number 32 for my least favorite hockey team. Again, this is all opinions. Some of these may be sent as tapes. Well, this one won't be, but to broadcasters. And still, guys, I cannot stand the New York Rangers. Obviously, probably already know my favorite team is, and they're absolute arch rivals with the Rangers, all the playoff series in the past. I'm in the New York, New Jersey area. I have a lot of friends that are Rangers fans. I just never liked the franchise, never liked the team. There was just always something about them. I had a pick to be a Rangers fan when I was a kid. I decided not to, and I decided never to like them. And they've got some good hockey players, but overall, they still would stay with number 32 for me. And including Mark Messier, who was on that team. Mark Messier has been a rival with a lot of my teams that we'll discuss as we go along. So number 32 is the New York Rangers. I don't know if they were at number 31 last time, but they are this time. So for number 31 on the list, on the new revisiting list for favorite teams, 31 is the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh, another organization and team that I've always disliked, never really liked a lot of their players. I don't like Sidney Crosby, but I respect him so much. I know what he's done for this National Hockey League. I know what he's done for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I know he's probably top 50 all time. I understand the skill, and he's a hard-working hockey player and a great person, and they've got a lot of good players there, like Malkin, who I like, but I never liked the Penguins. I respect their organization. I've never really liked them and always have rooted against them in the playoffs. So they are at number 31 for me. Now, moving on to number 30. I believe also were a team that were there the last time that we did this. And that is Carolina. The Hurricanes. And by the way, I'm not going to be revisiting goal horns or goal songs. I'm just going to do this one. But Carolina, they stay at number 30 for me. It's just a team that, again, another organization I've not really liked. I like a few of their players, but you know, the rivalry with some of the top teams that I like is just so up there and so incredible. Never really rooted for their team. Also, if you want to talk like I'm big into how jerseys look too. Never liked the jersey scheme and colors, and never really been a fan of Carolina. Didn't root for them in the '06 Cup Final. I didn't root for them in the '02 Cup Final, so they stay at 30. Number 29, another team that has gone up against and not been someone that I've been always particularly fond of. So number 28, and you'll see this kind of is similar to the previous list 2 years ago. But here we go, number 28. The LA Kings. LA Kings, who have battled a bunch of my top teams on my favorite list in the playoffs and have those 2 Stanley Cups. You know you have to respect them, but I've never really liked them. I've never been a huge fan of LA sports, and I've never really liked the Kings. I always seem to root against them, so not a team there. That's it. They're at 29. All right, let's go to 28. A team that was averagely in the middle when I was ranking 2 years ago, and it's also kind of funny as everything was going along because they were not that great of a team. They were an okay team 2 years ago, and we're coming off a year that they were not very good at all, and they've now run into become an absolute Stanley Cup contender. If you remember earlier, I predicted them to win the Cup this year. It still is going to be a possibility, although right now they are currently out of the playoffs, 6th in their division, the West Division. And that is number 28. Hold on, let me just get it up. Colorado, the Avalanche. The new top teams, as you'll see, the Colorado Avalanche, including my favorite team that has always stayed, have beaten them in the playoffs to get to the Stanley Cup final. I've not liked most of their players, even though they've had some Hall of Famers. I like a lot of the players they have on their team, but I've never liked their organization. And this is just like, playing organization. It's just my opinion. It's not the people in the organization. Every organization, all sports, and especially hockey, all the people, they're class act people. There's nothing to say wrong about them. It's just fan, yay, we root for our team and we sit in the stands and eat food, drink, and that kind of stuff. That type of disdain for an organization. Not a personal disdain, but that's just that for Colorado. Never really liked them. Not going to like them unless I am involved in the Colorado organization. So that is that for 28. All right, 27. This is a team that was a lot higher up on my list, including one that I actually wore the hat of 2 years ago when we did this. And I have grown an incredible amount of disdain for multiple reasons. 27. Chicago, the Blackhawks. All of their players, Taves, Kane, Keith, Seabrook. Now you've got the young goaltender Lankinen, and you talk about Kirby Dach and Alex DeBrincat, some of these other young players that the Blackhawks have. Rivalries with top teams, again, that I like. Not ever been a fan of this hockey team. I was a little bit likable of them earlier on, and as the years have gone on and I've watched them more and more, I have discovered an ability of a dislike for this hockey team. Sorry, Blackhawks fans, that's just the way it is. At 27. A team that I think was a few rows down, goes a few rows up, and I mean the positive direction, and they're only at 26, though. Not a team that is an incredible position for my fandom. But here we go. Number 26. Also a team that around the time they missed the playoffs, but around the time that I was doing this video the year before, they were an incredible hockey team, but have just fell to the doldrums in the league. And this is number 26. Ottawa, the Senators. I don't really have a hate for the Senators. I just don't care for their team. Their organization seems to just spin around in mindless circles. I rooted for them a little bit in 2017, but since then they have not been a really consistent and deep franchise. So another reason that they're that so low. I like Shabbat. I like Tkachuk, but there's not really a great amount of talent there and a great amount of respect for me for their team. Otherwise, because not the winning. I'm not saying I don't respect the organization. I respect all NHL organizations, but they just sit for me at 26. It's been a franchise that's done too much, and I've never really rooted for them anyway. I didn't root for them in their trip to the Stanley Cup Final, so I'm not going to begin rooting for them probably anytime soon. Number 25, a team that I also believe was a bit higher 2 years ago, but because of rivalries that I've seen with some of my other teams, they have taken a dip back down. But as of late, I've gotten a little bit more respect for them, especially because of their run in the playoffs last year. They've got a great team. And here we go. Number 25. Dallas. The Stars have budding rivalries in the Western Conference and still with a few other Eastern Conference teams that the top three teams that I will announce actually all met the Stars in the playoffs, including the number 4 team as well of the favorites, and one of the teams in the Stanley Cup Final, others in conference round playoffs in the West. And Dallas, the run they had last year, the trade for, free agent signing for Pavelski, and all of the moves that the Dallas Stars made that were so good for their hockey club helped them propel to the Stanley Cup Final. And I personally don't like the Dallas Stars. I don't personally like Dallas sports in general. I don't live near Dallas specifically. It's just, preference. You talk about that. And I respect them. I respect their team. I know right now they're not playing the best hockey, but they're still a team that could go to the Stanley Cup and win the Stanley Cup, but not entirely on that Stars bandwagon, especially when it comes to liking the hockey team. I really had no preference in the final last year, as you're going to see, and but yeah, that's that. So for number 24, interestingly enough, it kind of falls into what I was literally just saying. And let's do number 24. I am happy for their season last year, though. But 24, here we go. Tampa Bay. City of Champions. Their baseball team went to the World Series. Their football team went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. And the Lightning won the Cup. And the Lightning are a team that I respect absolutely their organization. You see what Steve Yzerman did. You see what Brice LeBois was able to finish in Tampa. And the Lightning franchise their 2 Stanley Cups in 2004 against Calgary and last year against the Dallas Stars. Because of Eastern Conference playoff rivalries and such, a lot of it comes from rivalries, I am not a huge fan of Tampa. I've never been a real Tampa sports guy. I respect their city. I like what they did, but I like a few of their players. I'm glad that Blake Coleman won a cup there, but for me, Tampa is not a team that I really particularly like. I like that a few of their guys got cups as well as Ryan McDonough, but I was actually kind of rooting for them to win the cup since I don't particularly like Dallas. We talked about. I know technically I should have rooted for the Stars since they're a peg up, but they're not really either team I would root for. But I felt that Dallas kind of needed to win the cup at this point because they were at a point where they were just nearing the top of the mountain and cap issues were going to become a point of contention. And I was happy they won the cup, but I don't necessarily root for this hockey team. That's 24. All right, let's go to 23. And this team, this is what prompted the intro to this video. This team has taken a gigantic turn from last time, fallen as many spots as you could. So let's bring up number 23. Calgary. Calgary was at number 2. I liked a few Calgary players, but what I didn't realize was a few years ago, I liked their players that they had. A few of them actually left. Alex Tanguay was the first Calgary fan I really liked. Talk about Sean Monahan. I still love his play, but I was not a Gaudreau guy back then. I'm still not a Gaudreau guy, and I realized that I probably liked a few of their players a bit more than I like their franchise. I don't like their franchise anymore. It's my least favorite Canadian hockey team. My opinion on on the Calgary Flames. Not a particular fan of them. I'd love to go to a Calgary game, but I'm not big into their team. I like a few of their players, but yeah, Calgary no longer anywhere close to a favorite team of mine. They have absolutely taken a fall for me. They go to 23. I respect their play. I like to watch them play, especially at home, but not at all at where they were. All right, let's go to number 22. This is a team, another one that was much higher, and again took a dip. And as you'll see as this goes around, they also were higher for me the year after the season I did 2 years ago, a year ago, and were also pretty high coming in to last year. But there was, I'm not going to name the event until the end of this, because it affects one of the other hockey teams, but something happened that really affected the relationship with me and this hockey team, and I still like to watch them play. They've still got a really good club, but they are not as high as they were 2 years ago. Number 22. Vegas. It involved a playoff matchup between the team. Again, I won't announce who, but Vegas, I was all for this hockey team 2 years ago. They went to the Stanley Cup final for the first time ever. Beat LA in the first round, then San Jose in the second round, then in the conference final, Winnipeg, and got a win in the final against Washington, which is a team that was more experienced. And I respect their team. I like a lot of their players, but I'm not a big fan of how they play. And not that they're expansion franchise, but I'm not a big fan of just some of their players, how they choose to play. They're a real team oriented team, but they will really come at anybody, and they don't take prisoners. And you can love that. I don't like Vegas, so I'm not entirely there. If some of those players were doing that on my team, I'd probably love it, but I don't particularly like Vegas. Well, a lot of friends do, but I don't. All right, number 21. This team was a lot lower 2 years ago, but I've kind of come to like this team. Obviously, 2 years ago, they were in the playoffs, and they've been in the playoffs for a bunch of years. They have actually not made the playoffs since, and they've hauled a lot of their talent out of there from 2 years ago. And this is a team that I was sick of being in the playoffs, and now they've missed the playoffs a few times. And I've kind of just watching them, watching them try to rebuild this team. I've kind of taken an endearing to them. I really wouldn't have thought I would have had. And here we go for number 21. Anaheim. The Ducks. They were swept by San Jose the last time we did this video, and they haven't made the playoffs since. They hadn't won a playoff game since Game 4 of the 2017 Western Conference Final against Nashville. And they come in with a team that's very young, trying to rebuild this defensive core that has been overhauled. We saw with Theodore leading to Vegas what that did. And Silfverberg and Lindholm being their best players, as well as Cam Fowler, and defensively. And you can see Raquel, who was an absolute bona fide superstar 2 years ago, has actually taken a downgrade. But I'm still a bit of a fan of this team. I like how they play. They're very team-oriented, and they've got a kid who is only about 16 years old 2 years ago. He's butt into this great 18-year-old player, played in the World Juniors, and Trevor Zegras, how good has he been? He played the other night against Arizona. And Anaheim Ducks, yeah, they've had some rough games this year, but they're building into being another team. They're not as ferocious defensively as they were known to be, but they've got a really skilled, quick team. So we'll see what that does. I do like this hockey team a bit more than I did 2 years ago. All right, I don't know where they were 2 years ago. I think they're kind of at the same area here. A team that I don't necessarily like, but I don't necessarily dislike. I'm okay with this team. Here we go. Let's go to number 20. Columbus. So we're in the final 20, and sitting at 20 are the Columbus Blue Jackets. Team that a few years ago, it was just, can they get to the playoffs? What can they do? This is a scrappy team. Do we know where they are? We know now, or at least I know now, that this is a hockey team that in a few years is going to play, in my opinion, for Stanley Cup, and has overhauled their roster and gotten better and better. Since we did that, we was recording when they went up 2-0 but lost the next 4. We know that they can win playoff series. Last year, they technically didn't win a playoff series because they lost in 5 to Tampa, but they did get that qualifier out of the way, and they beat a good Leafs team. So Columbus, to me, this is a hockey team that I'm good with. I'm good with this team, and I like a lot of their players. I've never really been an Ohio sports fan. I've never really been a Blue Jackets fan, so I don't really like them, but I don't dislike them. And I really like their organization, and I think that they're on the right path. I think they may have to make a coaching change. You may want a guy that'll let the offense be a little freer than John Tortorella lets them be, but a few more changes, Jarmo Kekalainen's going to get his hockey team to the Stanley Cup final, a place he hasn't been since he was in Boston in the early 1990s. Okay, let's move on to number 19. I don't remember where they were. I actually think they were a bit lower down the list. Lower as in negative down the list. And they've got up higher because I've really kind of like them. I know that a lot of people in my area, and especially fans of teams that I like, are not at all into this hockey team. But I'm telling you, I really have come to like the way they've played, and their organization getting players to help the depth as well. Number 19. Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto, you got Austin Matthews. You got John Tavares, another player that we didn't think 2 years ago that they would be there. Jason Spezza, Joe Thornton. So many great players. TJ Barry. No, they actually did have Tyson Barry. But TJ Brody they get along for Toronto. And the Maple Leafs, say all you will about the fans and the organization, but they've found a way to get a team. Right now, they have the best record in the league, and they would be paced to have at least 50 wins and get the President's Trophy and have home ice in this new COVID type situation. And it seems kind of a team that I'm not going to necessarily follow. I don't necessarily like, but I don't dislike as much as I did. And I think that if you kind of just watch Maple Leafs games, sometimes it's hard to like because just the organization and the players and the fan base, it's been volatile at times, but it's a really fun team to watch and look at. So they to me are at 20, at 19. Let's go to 18, the team that was looked at as a very good team 2 years ago, but they did miss the playoffs, and seen in that offseason, as we made a few videos, to become, at that time, maybe a contender, but we weren't sure what they would be. And as fate have it, they had a interesting season that ended up voting pretty well for them. Number 18. Gloria, St. Louis. St. Louis at number 18. I know the rivalries that have been up with some of the teams that I like, but I again, this is one that I like a bit more. I think their new grinding style works for them. You got Ryan O'Reilly and the goaltender Jordan Binnington. I rooted against them hard in the playoffs last year. I'm not too fan of a repeat team if it's not a team I exponentially like, but they've got a fun team to watch. And another good team. It's a bit like the Leafs, but the Leafs have experienced players, but they also have very young players. The Blues have a fourth line and two players on a third line that are very young, but pretty much everybody else is a seasoned veteran. And so you get that type of play where they're going to move the puck down on the ice, but they're going to cycle you. They're going to cycle you to death, and they're fun to watch. So I don't necessarily like or dislike them, but if it comes in the playoffs against a team that I like in the West, I'm not going to really root for them. Number 17. Another team that was if I remember, was extremely low on my list and has went much higher. Number 17. Montreal, you know what they can do. You know what they are. You know the hockey team that they have, how they started this season, and they missed the playoffs for the first time in a long time when we had 2 years ago. But a lot of their older players gone. They got the youth back. They were able just to sneak into that play-in last year and then make the playoffs by defeating Pittsburgh and giving Philadelphia a number 1 seed a run for their money. They really tested the Flyers, and I like the organization. I like a lot of their coaching staff. I know that a few days ago they fired a bunch of them, but Alex Burrows is out there as an assistant, and more Quebec-born products to play for the hockey team, as well as some Americans, and it's the most dynastic team in hockey and the second most dynastic team and storied team in North American sports behind the Yankees, and their sport means even more to their country than baseball does to America. So it's incredible. I have no issue anymore with Montreal. They're a bit fun to watch. Let's go to 16. Number 16, a team that, this will give it away, but a team that wasn't even thought of when we did this video 2 years ago. Seattle Kraken. Yep. I know you'll see at the end of this video and go, what? But no, seriously, they are a team that, that wasn't well explained, guys. I apologize. At the end of the video, you'll see that and kind of question why I would like them. But if you look at some of the other teams that I like. But Seattle they'll see if they're good. This is before the expansion draft, but they should be a good hockey team. I don't have a real problem with that team, and I like that there's going to be a team up there, and it seems like it'll be a cool organization. Again, not too much to really go on there, but I don't hate them and I don't dislike them. It's not a team that I'll be rooting against unless they play top teams, but it's not necessarily a team that I'll be really rooting for till we get down the list, and we will kind of see how that goes. And now we're in the final 15. A team that when I got into hockey, I loved a ton, and then a team that 2 years ago I put really low on the list. We've moderated it out. We put them in moderation. They were an incredible team 2 years ago, and were really good the year. Well, were good in the playoffs the year before that, but had an exceptional regular season and had a decent playoff run 2 years ago when we did it. But they've fallen off some playoff exits, and now they're one of the worst teams in the league. But let's go to number 15. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Number 15. Nashville. Nashville Predators. You know what they have. You know what they can do. That hockey team out there in Nashville. If you Roman Josi, think of Victor Arvidsson, Philip Forsberg, Pekka Rinne, Jussi Saros, backup and goaltender, and the draft pick that they used for goalie. They've got a good hockey team. Again, not necessarily a team I'd root for, like really go out of my way to root for, but I do like the Predators. I do really like their organization and their fan base. David Poile, one of the best general managers in the history of sports. And he has a team that can really go for it. They're not that great this year, but they have some potential down the road. We're starting to see what Eli Tolvanen can do. I don't mind them. I really don't mind them. Still not at a point where I would just go out of my way to root for them, especially that one of my favorite teams they're in the division of this year, and they'll change next year. But I don't have a real issue with that team. Nothing that really comes at me and goes, wow, I really root for them. I really root against them. But anyway, let's go to number 14, a team that was supposed to be very low on my list, but ended up super high on my list. And I put a bit lower this time, but still one that I do definitely root for. Philadelphia Flyers at number 14. Big rival of a few of my teams, but still I like. Their fans are so passionate. I'm not necessarily a big fan of Philadelphia sports, but I've always liked the way the Flyers have played. Also, my father and my uncle are gigantic Flyers fans, specifically my uncle, and, to root for them for them when I'm not, busting them on the team that they like a lot, but most of their chops, obviously, as you do as a family member. But the hockey club has a really good team right now, and I've never had a real issue with Philadelphia. I like the rivalries that are there. I root against them when my top teams play them, but still, again, I don't know if I actually go out of my way to root for the Flyers still. I don't know if they're at that point, but I wouldn't have a real problem with them. Number 13, and a lot of people don't like this team, specifically with the teams that I like, but I still have never had a real issue with this team. I put them down. I put them more down than they were. I didn't realize that as much as I do like them, I don't like them as much as I thought I did 2 years ago, but I still don't hate them. I've tried to. I'm supposed to not like this team at all. The most disdain. I just do not. I just can't help rooting for them sometimes. I understand the history, but it is just something special about this hockey team. Number 13. Boston. We know the success that they've had. You know the prolific team. You know what they can do with the puck. And the fan base is... I know a lot of people don't like them, but they've got a prolific fan base. A great building. One of the best playoff buildings. Yes, they have some players that are a bit, so sketchy. But it's just my opinion. Personally, I don't have a real problem with them. There was some history between some of them and my teams that I wish that my teams came up on top. I like the top teams, but still not incredibly hate Boston. And I've tried, and I just always find a way to kind of like them. All right, number 12. This one was super low on my list, and as they've made their playoff runs, because they were very bad when we did this 2 years ago, I've met even more fans of this hockey team. I didn't know too many fans of this hockey team, and the passion there is among any other hockey team in the league. And I really appreciate this hockey team. Definitely, no question. Here is number 12. The New York Islanders. A lot better than the Rangers. I like the fans a lot. I like the organization. I love that Barry Trotz, who was the Washington coach, he goes over to the New York Islanders, and so much success there. I like the way they play, the blocking, defense. They're just in your mouth. They're a bit of a mini version, because you just can't replicate it, but a mini version of the old Devils trap team. They're not fun to play against, but boy, hey, you'll watch an Islanders game. You want to get excited? You'll watch a New York Islanders game. I'm still not exponentially going to go out of my way to root for them. I don't think you get to a team that I would really, really go out of my way to just root for until we get to the top 10. But still, Islanders at 12. Then you get to number 11 now. This is a team that I actually might go out of my way to root for, but still, it's not at the same level as some of these others. Number 11. It got mulled a few levels lower than it was the last time, but San Jose still is on a high list for me. Still leagues ahead in my favoritism of Anaheim and Los Angeles. Always like the organization. Always like the players. I know Joe Thornton, but a great hockey team. Great hockey franchise. They've got a fantastic building, fantastic fans, and I've always liked a lot of Sharks players and a lot of Sharks playoff moments. So San Jose sticks at number 11 to me. Now let's go to the top 10. And a team that I don't remember cracked the top 10 for me last time cracks the top 10. I think it was around where Boston is now, but it will hit the top 10, and here we go. Number 10. Buffalo Sabres. The sports just story and situation in Buffalo was a wreck 2 years ago. They have come out crazy. The Bills are a Super Bowl contender. The Sabres still aren't there. Still have one of the most stagnant organizations playing-wise in the National Hockey League. But you look at how they are, what they can do with their hockey club. And, you got Taylor Hall now, you got Jack Eichel. I want Buffalo to win a cup at some point. It's a real hockey paradise, and I want them to get there. I know they're close, and it would just be awesome for a championship in Western New York. And I like a lot of their players, and it surprises most people. I do really like the Sabres, and this is really where you start to go to a team like, I will go on my way to root for the Sabres. Most of the Bills. Sabres. I will definitely root for them against most teams in the league. But they're at number 10. Let's move to number 9, a team that was really high up, but it's some of the playoff unsuccesses, and specifically because it is a divisional team against my top team, has really, really gotten bumped down a few bits. I believe it is. Yes, it is. It is the second highest. It is the highest team in the division now, and also when we get back to regular divisions, of my favorite team. So let's move on to number 9. Washington Capitals. They were as high as any team flying high with their success 2 years ago. They had won the Stanley Cup. Well, 2 first-round playoff exits at the hands of Carolina, and the Islanders really don't help your cause. Specifically when added only 4 wins in 2 seasons. in the playoffs after 2 division wins, and right now they don't look like they're going to win the division as things are slated right now. Still love all the players. Obviously, I've met almost all of them. I still will go out of my way most times to root for Pittsburgh, especially if it's against a rival team. I said Pittsburgh. I meant Washington. I was thinking of Washington playing Pittsburgh, but yeah, love the Caps. Love a lot of their players. Love the organization. Absolutely nothing but love for them. But it's just there are some other teams also that have risen up that I like better. That's kind of one of the reasons why the Caps have dropped down. Number 8. Number 8. Just wait for that, and here we go. Number 8. Edmonton. The Edmonton Oilers. Then you get to Western Canada, and like a lot of teams in Western Canada, I started to realize that I kind of like the Oilers, but I wasn't sure 2 years ago, and I really like the Flames. Well, really did not like Flames, but I do certainly like Edmonton. Obviously, Connor McDavid. Obviously, Leon Draisaitl. We knew Connor McDavid was probably the best player in the world at that time, or at least close to that point. Now we know he absolutely is. We knew Leon Draisaitl was good. Some people knew good or great maybe, and people really in hockey circles knew that he was a budding superstar. Well, he's not budding anymore. He's there. He won the MVP last year, and Leon and that hockey team, having their own defensive issues organizationally, like with their defensemen, but still they are, they're second in the division. They won against the Canucks the other night. Oilers really flying high, and I tend to like their fans still. I am really into Edmonton, and then the Battle of Alberta comes. I'm going all Oilers, so that's on my stake of it. So Edmonton at number 8. Let's move on to number 7. Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets. I know no Line, and this is a team that hasn't won a playoff series since the last time they were flying high. They went to the Stanley Cup, the conference final the last time 2 years ago, but still, fans are absolutely amazing. Building is absolutely amazing. Love the organization. Shovel Day off. Paul Maurice. They get a lot of garbage, but they've run a really tight ship there, and really just like Winnipeg. They got a great team. I have no problem with them at all. I love that hockey team. So that's number 7 for me. And you were talking about Washington and Edmonton, Winnipeg. Really root for them. Winnipeg and Edmonton I really root for. But we're getting to the spot here now that we're at number 6. 6 through 1 are teams that I'll go out of my way to root for: Winnipeg, Buffalo, Washington, Edmonton. But this is the point where I really get there. The other teams I might not, when I'm calling a game, get really excited. Here, I'll be like a fan. There we go to number 6 now. Team, I'm not sure where they were. I think they were kind of close to middle of the pack. I want to say they were 15. They have absolutely no question about it skyrocketed, in my opinion, positively. Number 6. Florida. The Florida Panthers. Oh boy. For all of what I don't like about Tampa, I love about the Florida Panthers. Joel Quenneville. And the Florida Panthers, Barkov. I think Barkov might be the most underrated player in the league. This guy's offensively skilled, a little less physical, voraciously physical, but statistically better physical version of Eric Lindros. The Florida Panthers, I've always liked watching their games. Got a great team. They got a great organization. Just love watching Florida. Florida also, the building, for all the jokes, they're Panthers fans. There's no real thing with Panthers fans. Yes, they are, and they love their team. It's just because they had to have a problem marketing. But the Panthers fans know the team they've got. And right now, it's one of the best in the league. And great hockey team from all time. Great hockey team. We're in the top 5 now. We are in the top 5. And another team that is always joked about with their fans, but has a good team, not as well as Florida does, but still a really good hockey club, is this one at number 5. Nope. Arizona. Number 5, Arizona. Man, this organization is awesome. Jeff Chaika, you think of all of that, what he's done with the Arizona Coyotes. They finally have got good ownership. Always rooted for them. When I watch them play, like Pacific Division, West Division, I usually don't watch a lot of games. I'm talking like really West. When I watch Arizona, I tune in. Love the way that defensive core, so physical, so disciplined. I don't know if they can get to a cup final this decade, but I know that they have the tools to get to one. And just a bit more offense. They've had a rough little regular season, but they found ways to compete. They're right now 3rd in the division behind Vegas and the Blues. So, no question. I love Arizona. I love watching them play. No question about it. And let's get to number 4. Number 4, if you know your standings and you know your countries, number 4 is going to actually end up being the last Western Conference hockey team, and this one really root for, but hockey team that is in the United States of America. Number 4. Minnesota, the Wild. I love the Wild 2 years ago. Hadn't changed. If it's changed, it may have. If it has changed, I've gotten even more love and passion for the Minnesota Wild. The state of hockey is incredible. The fans are incredible. The building, and they've kind of retooled. They made the playoffs the last time. They didn't make the playoffs the year after. They technically didn't make it last year, but they did get to the quarters. Not the quarters, but like the play-in, COVID play-in playoff format, and gave Vancouver a run for their money. And Minnesota, big fan of Jason Zucker. I know he's gone to Pittsburgh now, and I know Eric Stahl's gone, but they've got a new team. Look at Kaprizov and the Austrian pick that they also made. This is a hockey team that's going to compete for a long time. Right now, they're 5th in the division, just out of the playoff scene, but that's also because LA and Arizona won, and they are really competing for that playoff spot. That number 4, they're very close. So, Minnesota number 4, no question about it, up there. Now we get to the top 3. This team was moderately there. I have been bewitched by the spell of the franchise of this hockey team. Absolutely. For what kind of fell off for me for Boston has endeared me to this team, and for a bit of a cheat and a hint, it's an Original 6 franchise. Hey, Hockey Town. Thank you, Awood40 and other YouTubers at Detroit Red Wings, for getting me into the fandom of Hockey Town. Boy, there is just nothing like Detroit Red Wing hockey, right? Nothing like it. It's an experience. It's a culture. It's a way of life. It's a new language. There's nothing like, and I know it's Little Caesars Arena now, but you talk about the old Joe Louis Arena, the 11 Stanley Cups that are in Detroit, Michigan, all of the history, all of the Hall of Famers, from Sid Abel to Henrik Zetterberg everyone in between, all the goaltenders, the defensemen, the wingers. I know that Chris Osgood and Terry Sawchuk are their best goaltenders. If they had a prodigy goalie, they're up there for. There's no question that you could make a case for them over even Toronto or Montreal as the greatest franchise of all time because of all of that with the Hall of Famers. It's just they're an elite franchise. They don't have, I guess just the love and passion I have for the two teams ahead of them, but Detroit is almost everything. Love Detroit Red Wings. They're my number 3. Number 2. This one's going to really, really surprise you. They were about middle in the pack last time, and 2 years go by, and I found out that this team has so much more than I needed and a love affair with this hockey team. No question about it. Number 2. Vancouver, the Canucks. No Stanley Cups, but wow. What an organization. What a franchise. What great fans. I think Vancouver Canuck fans might be the greatest fans in all of sports. They're up there. And the team, they're building something. I know they're not playing great this regular season, but they found ways. They had that great playoff run last year to the second round of that 7-game loss to the Vegas Golden Knights. And this is also why Vegas has dropped so low on my list. Because of the animosity in that second round series between Vegas and Vancouver and how the pushing and the shoving and the trash talking and all of that. It lost your magic. Vancouver, they never lose their magic in the playoffs. Are you kidding me? Talk about Trevor Linden, who I believe was one of the most underrated playoffs in history. In the series that they lost in 6 games in 93, even though they lost it to Wayne Gretzky and the Kings, Trevor Linden was the best player on the ice. He outdueled Wayne Gretzky. If they go on and win the Cup and beat Montreal in the Cup final, there's no question that Trevor Linden win Conn Smythe over any other player. Talk about Henrik Danielson, two of the greatest players ever to play. Just Vancouver itself, unbelievable franchise, unbelievable team. I love the Canucks. They're my second favorite team. And then, now, you know what this is. This won't be a surprise. It hasn't changed since I was 8 years old. It's not going to change 70 years from now. Number 1. New Jersey. Come on, guys. I'm always going to be a Devils fan. It's the closest team to me. It's where I grew up. Had a choice in the Rangers and the Devils. Decided to put the Rangers in the doldrums. Decided to put the Devils in the penthouse. It's just the way it is. New Jersey. I've gone to so many Devils games. I've seen a bunch of the players. I've known the organization so well. It's home. There's nothing going to replace the New Jersey Devils. As much as I love Vancouver, Detroit, Minnesota, Arizona, Florida, nothing comes close to the New Jersey Devils. That's just my team, my home, my hockey club. Team I hope will win the Stanley Cup soon. Not sure, but it's a love affair between me and this organization. So, alright guys, this was the new revisiting of my favorite teams. I will see you in the next stream, which when I record this will probably be in a few minutes, but hopefully you guys check this out, and I'll see you for the next time. Again, remember to like, subscribe, and comment on the video, and also send it to your friends and family to kind of help my channel, if you may. And see you soon. Happy hockey, everybody.